New Orleans Saints just did exactly what everyone feared, ladies and gentlemen. This is from Fanatic Field. Now, we all remember the last time that I was sent a AI-generated B-roll voiceover festival from J&D Productions. So I'm hesitant to be excited about this video, but someone's got to check these fools. So I'm going to watch this video, see how they do here. Again, this is Fanatic Field. We're going to go ahead and see what exactly the New Orleans Saints just did that everyone feared.
The New Orleans Saints just made a game-changing move, and trust me, this one could shake up the entire NFC South. They've locked in Brandon Staley as their new defensive coordinator.
There you go.
And while some might question the hire, there's a reason this move could be a masterstroke. Staley may not have worked out as a head coach, but as a defensive mastermind. He's got a track record that speaks for itself. Just ask the 2020 Rams, who went from an average defense to the #1 unit in the league in
Yeah, so Brandon Staley, new DC of the Saints, is something that we had predicted a long time ago, a couple weeks ago now. But Staley, people, it is certainly a what have you done for me lately league, no doubt about that. Sports in general are kind of like that. I mean, you could look at that with the Saints, where, if you're the Saints and you're Mickey Loomis, you can have 15 years of success and the best team in the world, and you have a couple down years and people think you're a joke, so you got to perform. A lot of people are going to remember Brandon Staley as the head coach. A lot of the talk that I've heard is, well, Brandon Staley was a failed coach, and with the Chargers, Brandon Staley's defenses were 28th, 29th, 26th, or whatever with the Chargers, and it's like, well, he was the head coach. And I understand that he is a defensive-oriented head coach, but sometimes when you become the head coach, a lot of times you kind of forget the side of the ball that made you famous. There's so much other stuff going on. Staley was really involved. What Staley is probably most known for in his tenure in Los Angeles is his fourth down decisions. He was a advocate for going forward on fourth down and fourth and goal and fourth and inches and whatever and 2-point conversions, and it didn't pan out for him. A lot of people lampooned him for that. So I'm not making excuses for him, but it happens all the time where you'll see a head coach or a coordinator become a head coach, and then all of a sudden, like, they're trying to do way too much, and they lose a little bit of their defense or lose a little bit of their offense. So all that to say, I wouldn't judge, if you're looking just offensively, I wouldn't look at the Chargers' overall record or how his head coaching tenure was. I would look at when he was a linebackers coach for Chicago and Denver, which I believe during that time period, someone double check me, I'm pretty sure he had the #1 rated units both trips. His linebackers were the #1 graded out linebacker group in the NFL in Chicago and Denver. And then when he was a DC in the Rams, #1 rated defense. Now, all that to say, like, that doesn't mean he's going to be the greatest defensive coordinator to ever live. Like, that's not what I'm trying to tell you. But what I am trying to tell you is he certainly can coach defense. He certainly can do that. And he has certainly had success with that. So with a 41-year-old with previous head coaching experience who has some success defensively, I am more than okay taking a chance on that.
just one season. If he can bring that same magic to New Orleans, this defense could be lethal. Let's not forget the bigger picture. Staley is now teaming up with Kellen Moore, the Saints' new head coach. And here's why that matters. Continuity. Too many teams lose their best coaches to head coaching jobs, but not this one. Moore isn't going anywhere, and Staley, after his rough run with the Chargers, isn't getting another head coaching gig anytime soon.
That's actually a great point, and a point that we've made, and, kudos to this faceless voiceover. But very true. Moore ain't going nowhere. He hasn't even got here yet. So Kellen Moore is going to be here for a long time if he succeeds. Who cares about the offensive coordinator when Kellen Moore is the offensive coordinator for all intents and purposes? And then, the fact that Staley is a DC who failed spectacularly as a head coach, it is going to take a while before teams are okay with making him a head coach again. And I know he's young, but it might be a situation, too, where he says, you know what? I ain't doing that again. I didn't like that. Me no likey. I'm going to be a DC for a little while. So it is a good situation for the Saints for continuity, where even with success, like even if the defense is good, even if the Saints are good, even if the offense is good, whatever, there's not really a direct avenue to losing either of these two guys. And as long as you have these two guys, you have a ton of continuity as far as like their side of the ball. Kellen Moore, there's no chance in losing him. But as long as he is there, the offense is totally the same, just like Sean Payton. And then Staley, as long as he's there, the defense is good and you're locked in. So two young guys, two guys that are seemingly anchored together. That part is a huge bonus if they are successful.
That means the Saints finally have long-term stability on both sides of the ball, something elite teams like the Chiefs and 49ers have thrived on for years.
True.
The Saints defense desperately needs a reset after ranking 19th in points allowed and 30th in yards allowed last season. With playmakers like Demario Davis and Cameron Jordan, this unit has talent. It just needs the right system. If Staley can replicate what he did with Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey in LA, New Orleans might finally have the missing piece to become a serious contender again. This isn't just about hiring a coach. This is about building a dominant, playoff-ready defense that can go toe-to-toe with the NFL's best.
Y'all say defense or defense? I switch. I mix and match, but I'll probably primarily say defense. Curious. You know, some people say defense, some people say defense, somebody say defensive back, somebody say defensive back. One thing that this guy's kind of talking about that maybe isn't completely correct is he's kind of, and look, a minute 32 seconds into this video is already so much better than the J&D Productions video. So, you know, Fanatic Field, this is all good and fine by me so far. The Staley hire is more of like, it's less about, okay, the Saints have all these pieces, now Staley has to figure it out. It's more about Staley's got this completely new system. Staley's system is completely different than Dennis Allen's in every single way. What he's asking the defensive backs to do, what he's asking the defensive line to do. He's in a 3-4. Allen was in a 4-3. I mean, it's totally different. So it's less about the pieces and more about, okay, Staley's here, this new system's here. Start drafting players, start getting players that line up with that and see how that works. But that part might take a second. Like that part might take a year or so or 2 seasons or whatever to figure out. But that part is a little bit of like, there is going to be a transition there.
But before we get into that, hit that like and subscribe button for more Saints and all the NFL content in this offseason. I mean, can we get 100 insane likes on this video?
Y'all hear this? I mean, this is Mardi Gras for you. Like, so for the next 7 days, there is at least 3 parades every single day in New Orleans. And they start all the time. Some can be at 8 a.m., some can be 5 p.m., some can be 10 p.m., doesn't matter. Driving in the city, doing anything in the city is impossible right now. On Mardi Gras Day, Zulu, that parade literally rolls next door to the studio. Like, it's the studio, a paper thin wall, Mardi Gras parade. So, it's just nuts.
The New Orleans Saints just pulled off something that most teams struggle with: long-term coaching stability. In the NFL, losing top coordinators after a successful season is almost inevitable.
Yeah.
Look at what happened to the Eagles. They made a Super Bowl run, then lost both their offensive and defensive coordinators, and suddenly they weren't the same team.
Happened twice. Happened with the Steichen Gannon, and then Fangio's still there, but then happens with Moore this time. So, I mean, yeah, the coordinator turnover nowadays is nuts. Is really, really volatile.
But the Saints, they don't have to worry about that. Kellen Moore is locked in as the head coach and play caller, and now with Brandon Staley running the defense, New Orleans has a rare advantage that only elite teams enjoy. The New Orleans Saints didn't just hire any defensive coordinator. They hired a coach with a proven track record of turning defenses into elite units. Brandon Staley...
Well, I don't know about a proven track record. He has done it, but he's only done it once. Like he's turned his unit. I think he was linebacker unit, whatever. But he's only turned a defense into an elite unit for one season. So proven track record is...
He might not have succeeded as a head coach, but when it comes to crafting dominant defenses, he knows exactly what he's doing. His rise in the coaching world was no fluke. In 2020, he took over the Los Angeles Rams' defense, and in just one season, he turned them into the #1 defense, one ranked unit in the NFL, allowing the fewest points and yards in the league. That kind of instant impact is what the Saints are banking on. After that incredible season with the Rams, Staley earned a shot as the Los Angeles Chargers head coach in 2021. While his head coaching tenure had its struggles, his defensive philosophy was never in doubt. His scheme, built around disguised coverages and relentless pressure, helped develop stars like Derwin James and Joey Bosa into even bigger forces on the field. In 2024, he took a role with the San Francisco 49ers as an assistant head coach, working alongside one of the best defense.
Yes, we talked about the system in our Brandon Staley breakdown. It's a very, what he's going to do is show zone that's disguised, or show zone that's disguised to that plays like man, or he'll show man that's disguised and plays like zone. And, we talked about the pattern matching zone attributes, which is more of like the Vic Fangio style or the Nick Saban style. So it will be fun to see a completely different system. I mean, even just 3-4 versus 4-3. It's something that the Saints haven't seen in over a decade as far as like a new defensive system. So all that will be fun to watch.
Defensive units in the league. Now, he brings all that experience to New Orleans, where he gets a fresh start in the role he thrives in most, leading an NFL defense. Staley's biggest strength? Adaptability. He doesn't force a system that doesn't fit. He adjusts to the player's strengths. With veterans like Demario Davis and young stars like Alontae Taylor, he has the perfect mix of leadership and raw talent to mold this defense into something special. New Orleans is betting that with Staley calling the shots, they can go from an inconsistent unit to one of the most feared defenses in the league, just like he did with the Rams.
I think maybe the better way of phrasing that would be that they think they can just build a new system. Like, that's what the Saints are doing. That's what they're doing with Kellen Moore, is that, they're not asking Kellen, they're not asking him like, hey, take our unit and make it a little bit better or whatever. Like, that might be a byproduct of it, but what they're really asking him to do is build your system. Build your system, build your offense, build your foundation, build your base, and we're going to move forward with that. That's what they're asking Staley to do. They're not saying, hey, take this unit, make it more consistent, whatever. They're saying, instill your new system, instill your new scheme, and we'll build on that. And then hopefully the byproduct of that is that we got some really, really good defenses. And on Moore's side, we get some really, really good offense.
The New Orleans.
That's why, like, when we talk about players, and I know I've hinted at this in the last couple of weeks here, but it's like Kellen Moore's job isn't necessarily develop Spencer Rattler. His job is to find his quarterback. If it's Spencer Rattler, fine. If it's not, it's not. But he has nothing owed to any of the Saints players who are there. Brandon Staley, it's not, hey man, you got to figure out how to get something out of Brian Brzee or Orgy or whoever, name a random player. If Brandon Staley feels like they're not up to snuff and he needs to draft somebody or sign a free agent or do something else to find someone to fill that position, that's what they're going to do. So it's less about curating what's already there, and it's more about building something for the next, hopefully, decade.
Saints aren't just bringing in a defensive specialist. They're reuniting two coaches who know each other well. Brandon Staley and Kellen Moore worked together in Los Angeles with the Chargers in 2023, and now they get a second chance to build something special in New Orleans. While their first stint didn't go as planned, this time they have a fresh start and a clearer focus. Moore runs the offense. Staley controls the defense. Two minds working without distractions, each sticking to their strengths. That's a winning formula, and the Saints are betting on it.
Goatee.
The connection between head coach and defensive coordinator is crucial. When both are on the same page, the team plays with a clear identity. Look at teams like the Chiefs, Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo, or the 49ers.
Damn, what is going on? This is crazy, man. These channels blow my mind.
49ers, Kyle Shanahan and Steve Wilks. Successful head coaches work best when they have a trusted defensive counterpart. That's what Staley and Moore can develop.
Wilks isn't Salah the DC now? What is Steve Wilks? Is he even still on the staff? Yeah, I didn't think so. Steve Wilks was fired 2 years ago. Last year, he was a volunteer advisor at the University of Charlotte, and now he's the DC for the Jets. Yeah, Salah is the DC for the Niners. I don't know if I would use this as an example.
Up in New Orleans. They've already been through adversity together, learned from their mistakes with the Chargers, and now have the chance to apply those lessons in a new system. Unlike their time in LA, Moore isn't under pressure to save a struggling defense, and Staley isn't forced to fix a broken offense. They each get to focus on what they do best. For the Saints, this
I mean, what are they doing? You know, are they moving the nuclear codes? I mean, what the hell is going on?
This reunion isn't just about familiarity, it's about building stability.
I mean, are the sirens necessary? It's actually shocking.
Often teams bring in opposite-minded coaches who clash on philosophy. That won't be a problem here. Moore and Staley know what to expect from each other, and more importantly, they know how to structure a team that can compete year after year.
What? Look, I know this guy. I don't even know this is a real human being. Honestly, we're at the point now with these videos where I don't even know. I don't know if I believe that the voice I'm hearing is a human or if it's AI reading a script. I err towards AI reading a script. If it's a human, no offense. But I'm hearing a lot of the same stuff over and over again. But what they just said about they know how to build a team that can do this and this and this, they have never done that. Like, this is something that we are going to see if they can do. Kellen Moore has certainly never built a team. Brandon Staley has certainly never built a team successfully. So that's something that these two are going to have to work together to prove that they can do. And that is certainly a risk. And certainly something that Saints fans should be like crossing their fingers and hoping, you know, like, okay, hopefully they can do this. That is part of this. We're taking a leap of faith that Kellen Moore can build a team and can build a culture and build an identity. But they certainly have not proven that they can.
If this partnership clicks, New Orleans could be looking at something they haven't had in a while, a long-term coaching duo that actually works. The New Orleans Saints defense is at a crossroads. Last season, they finished 19th in points allowed and 30th in total yards allowed. Numbers that simply aren't good enough for a team trying to compete in the NFC South. But with Brandon Staley now in charge, expectations have shifted. The goal isn't just improvement, it's about building a dominant unit that can control games and give the offense a chance to win. Staley has a history of turning defenses around fast, and now he's tasked with doing the same in New Orleans. The talent is already there. Cameron Jordan, the heart and soul of this defense.
The talent is not there, okay? Talent, borderline talentless from what we saw last season. So they got to find some talented players quick. And I'll tell you that too, and I keep on saying this. The roster is not, look, we are in a pseudo-organic rebuild. We have to find talented players. We have to find better players. The team is not totally devoid of talent, but it needs more talent. You ain't winning with Mason Tipton, Bub Means, Kendra Miller, whoever. You ain't winning with some of the guys that we have flying around on the defense and the secondary. You got to go find some talent. Anyone else telling you any differently is rose-colored glasses, okay?
Still has plenty left in the tank. Demario Davis remains a top-tier leader at linebacker. But the key? Maximizing the potential of younger players like Alontae Taylor and Brian Breezy. Staley's system thrives on disguised coverages and aggressive frontline play, which means these players are about to be put in the best possible position to succeed. If Staley can replicate what he did in LA, the Saints could have a top 10 defense again. What should fans expect? A defense that forces turnovers, locks down the red zone, and plays with an identity. Last season, they lacked consistency. Some weeks they looked...
Now, they were consistent. They were consistently ass. They were consistently giving up 8 yards a carry.
Elite. Others, they couldn't stop anyone. That has to change. If Staley can bring the same discipline and structure that made the Rams' defense number one. In 2020, this Saints defense could go from liability to strength in a hurry. The blueprint is there. The talent is in place, and now it's on Staley to bring it all together. But here's the real question. How fast can this defense improve? The Saints have veteran leaders and young playmakers.
What is going on here? Why is there a Ring doorbell camera in the locker room? This is an absolutely insane visual. Derek Carr delivering a pizza to my front door. What is going on? I mean, like, where was that? Where was
How fast can this defense improve? The Saints have veteran.
I mean, look at this. Like, hey, man, your pizza's here. Who ordered the Supreme Pizza? I'm looking out the door hole, and I see this, you know. Pizza's here. Like, damn, hurry, hey, get the money's on the table. Hurry up, get the money on the table. Get the pizza guys here. What is this?
Veteran leaders and young playmakers, but they've lacked consistency. If Staley can get them playing as a unit, this could be a top 10 defense sooner than expected. However, if things don't click, the Saints could be looking at another frustrating year of missed opportunities. This hire is a calculated risk, but one that could pay off in a big way. If Staley's defensive philosophy works, New Orleans won't just be better, they'll be dangerous. What do you think, Saints fans? Was hiring Brandon Staley the right move, or should they have gone in a different direction? Do you believe this defense can become elite under Staley, or will the struggles continue?
I think hiring Staley was good. I think he's the perfect hire. I think he's a high risk, high reward, and I think the Saints are in a position where they can afford to take those risks. I don't think necessarily the roster is good enough to be top 10, top 5, whatever. Now we'll see what happens on draft night. You get a rookie of the year in there. You get a Jared Verse type player, or whoever, Aaron Donald type player that makes an impact like that. In that situation, yeah, I mean, you never know. Like when you don't really know. It's hard to judge a roster until you see that draft, because nowadays rookies can be so impactful early on. So, yeah, you get a Will Anderson in there, or players like that can change some things around quick. So we'll see what happens there. But the roster that they currently have, I would not be banking on that roster being a top 10, top 5 unit. They're just older, a step slower, a step behind, a step further into their prime. Did that rhyme? Oh, that kind of rhymed. Didn't even mean to rhyme. That was crazy. That was a hell of a freestyle. Someone get me on the XXL cipher or whatever it's called. But is that what it is? XXL? XLL? XXL? Whatever. Who knows? Who even knows anymore, ladies and gentlemen? But I like the idea that we're creating an identity and a system and a culture, and I do like the idea of the continuity of the two coaches, where seemingly they can be here for a little while. They have a obvious thing they want to do, and hopefully through the draft and free agency and trades and whatnot, that they could, over the next couple of years, they can get that going. Then in a couple of years, Saints will be ready to roll, and we'll be marching towards that whole new era, the new chapter. But let me know in the comments below, ladies and gentlemen, what you think. Do you like the Brandon Staley hire? Do you think that everyone feared this hire around the NFL? Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.